What's up with the world? It's your boy CBJ. You are tuned in to the Know It All Sports Podcast with my co-host.
It's me. It's Coach Rudy. I know you've missed me or something like that.
All right, guys, we are back for another week, fun-filled week of sports. We got a lot of things to discuss. We got a lot of fights, football news, things of that nature.
So, the biggest news right now is in Afghanistan, but that has nothing to do with sports. So, yeah, we're not going to talk about it very much. Meaning
At all.
Other than that statement. Yeah. All right, let's get the ball rolling. Jake Paul, he's fighting this weekend against Woodley. Jake Paul, 6'1", 200-ish pounds. Woodley, 5'9", 170 pounds. If I'm Michael Jai White, I'm gonna say, oh, this is easy. He's bigger. He's gonna fucking win. But I'm not Michael Jai White.
So, do you know anything about this fight?
Yeah. I looked at both of the fighters, about their skills, what they put out. You know, obviously, Jake was a celebrity that is turning himself into a boxer.
Yes.
So I can't just dismiss him as a gimmick anymore.
Okay.
Usually, you're training for years before you get the notoriety that he has. But I can't dismiss him because, look, he's fighting. He's training. I'm not going to say he's got the same skill level as a fighter that's been putting in the work for 13 years, you know? But I will say he's putting himself up against people of different weights. He's not looking at the weight class. He's making sure that he limits himself to, like, this one's going to be an 8-round fight. So he's not training to win a title right now. But he is training himself enough to possibly win his fights that he's setting up.
Yeah.
So I got to give him a little bit of credit. He's got a little bit of power behind his punch for the people that he's been fighting. You know, he doesn't have it
for sure. So
for
sorry,
a trained fighter, boxer.
Yeah. So I was messing with the computer. So sorry, I was being not paying attention. But anyways,
Ugly.
So here's my situation on this. One, yes, he is a celebrity from YouTube and Vine. Him and his brother making a name for themselves as celebrity boxers, and they've both have been poking at the sport. On one hand, I look at it as like it's great. Maybe it draws more attention to the sport. As a boxing fan, I am always for making it go up. But what I find interesting, so he took this fight because he fought I don't remember the guy's name in off the top of my head.
Nate Robinson?
No. He fought another UFC fighter.
Oh, yeah, the white guy.
Yeah. And he beat him. And so he thinks that, you know, I can pretty much beat anybody. He's even trolling this situation, even trolling Gervonta Davis to possibly next fight. He's got Canelo on this list of people that he thinks that he could fight. First of all, you fighting other celebrities that are past their prime, other athletes that are past their prime that don't box, that are not boxing people.
Because UFC fighters are not boxers.
Right. Fighting people that are not in the wheelhouse of that. That is a completely different field. An amateur fighter, and that's what he is. He's an amateur fighter getting paid a lot of money to do these fights because he's only doing 8 rounds or 7 rounds. Like, he's not doing full-on 12-round fights fully commissioned by WBC or any of these.
Of course not.
So taking all that into consideration, being that T. Woodley is from St. Louis and I am a little bit aware of his UFC run, from my understanding, he has the reason why he's not currently a champion in the UFC is he has a tendency not to focus whenever he's fighting, like a lot of champions. Like, once you become the champion, you get so caught up in
the life.
Living, oh, I'm the champion, I'm having a good time, drinks, partying, not training like he should. And that's what tends to be his downfall. Seeing as how he hasn't fought in a little bit, he might take this a little bit serious. I'm gonna go with this is going to be his most difficult fight that he's had in the fight.
Woodley's or Jake Paul's?
Jake Paul's. Jake Paul is in for a fight, I think, because Woodley isn't.
Woodley has some power.
Well, he's a conditioned fighter, so there's a difference between the guy that he had fought last time that hadn't fought in a couple years, and the guy that hasn't fought in the last year. Being that he is still actively fighting in the UFC makes a difference. That he still trains. It might be a little bit of concern that he might slip up, which is I don't know why everyone always confuses that, but they always worry when a UFC fighter steps in the ring. What if he forgets that he's in the boxing ring and doesn't? When a lot of these fighters, they train specific days, like, okay, today we're going to do boxing. And then that day they're only doing boxing. The next day we're training kicks. We're only doing kicks.
Now, I look at Woodley and I know he's gotten a lot of wins just with his knockout punches.
Right.
So he can Superman you. He has that power punch.
Yeah.
So if he were to knock out Jake Paul, it wouldn't shock me.
Right.
It's not that I'm saying I expect it fully. And I know that he has the speed as far as jabs. He has the speed on Jake.
Yes.
Now, the question's going to be, is he going to have it for 8 rounds? Is he going to be trained to sustain? Because the hardest part about boxing, for those who haven't done it before, versus a street fight or UFC fight, is staying disciplined to your game plan on the fight, on when you're going to attack somebody, when they're trying to draw you in, or you're trying to draw them in. That's a lot harder than what you can imagine, because you can get tired of someone staying away from you.
Yeah.
You want to engage.
So the big thing for me is, one, let's see, what's 8 rounds, 3 minutes?
24.
It's 24 minutes. That's a championship fight in the UFC.
Exactly.
A championship fight in the UFC is 3 15-minute rounds, I think it is. Or
no, 5-minute rounds.
Is it 5-minute rounds?
Yeah.
So it's 5 rounds then? Yeah. All I know is I know that they're
comparable.
Yeah.
The amount of time in the ring.
Which is different than when you're fighting, like when Floyd fought
12.
McGregor, it was 12 rounds and it was twice the length, and Floyd exploited that idea. I only have to be good for 30 minutes, and then after that I can beat him. So that's the difference in that type of fighting. But when you're fighting somebody that's used to fighting for those 20 minutes or 25 minutes, you're still in their wheelhouse. Even if it isn't a different fight style, you're still putting yourself at danger. And my thing is, I get it. A lot of people that follow him, they're not big boxing fans, so they don't realize that he's really garbage at fighting. He's very young, and I'm saying skill level.
Jake Paul.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Not clarifying. Yes,
What
Jake
it
Paul
is
is very lacking of skill and discipline when it comes to throwing the proper punches.
He shows his amateurism.
Yeah.
He hasn't done it long enough. And that's someone, look, we talk about our own personal fighting experiences. We've done it many times.
Yeah.
Maybe not in great detail, but we've let our listeners know at least that we have some fighting experience.
Right.
So knowing that, we are able to recognize, and most people should recognize, there's a difference in a world championship class type of fighter and what Jake Paul is.
And somebody that's fought 3 fights. Yeah, definitely. And that's what I'm saying. Like, when you look at somebody who gets gassed after 3 rounds and then they're just like fighting on instinct or whatever, that's what I'm talking about. When I see this, that's what I look at. And when you're looking at, and I know a lot of people are thinking like Jake's going to wash Woodley. And again, just because he's lost a couple UFC fights, and the thing about UFC versus boxing is, in UFC you can lose because you got in an ankle lock or a wrist lock or some sort of kick or disqualification. Like, there's little things that are different than in boxing. Like, boxing, typically when you lose, you've either been knocked out or the referee has stopped the fight, and it's not typically something as minor as we were fighting for 2 minutes and then all of a sudden I was in a leg bar. Like, those difference, that makes a difference in your
I think what
fight.
people are going to hang on to is the idea that because Jake Paul weighs 30 pounds more, or roughly 30 pounds more, that he's going to have a higher likelihood of knocking out Woodley. The thing that I see from Woodley, look, I don't like Woodley's fighting per se in the UFC.
Yeah.
I think he's too wild with his throws. Um, for me, it'd be easy because he throws too many wild hooks.
Yeah.
Too many wild hooks, but that's a different fighting style.
Right.
If he's training for boxing, which I'm sure he is because he doesn't want to get embarrassed,
Right.
he's going to be good enough to keep his hands inside like he needs to, and he's going to be way faster than Jake Paul is. Because he's way faster than Jake Paul.
Because, again, he's a skilled fighter versus somebody who's not fought in the last 3 years.
I'm not saying that Woodley versus a professional fighter, even versus Pacman, is going to be the same outcome. I'm saying Woodley versus Jake Paul.
Right.
I would guess that Woodley's going to win it, if not knock him out.
There's a lot more likelihood of that than him just getting washed. Now, we go to the scorecards. Jake Paul has the name. Don't be surprised that Jake Paul wins because he's got the name behind him, and they're not going to go against the guy that's getting them all paid. I do want to say that in his trolling, I don't know if anyone has seen this, but he did troll Gervonta Davis as somebody he wants to fight. Gervonta Davis has told him, leave me the fuck alone, and he's made fun of him for being short and not being able to ride the rides. I found it amusing. But I want you to know, because I seen this list of people, he called it his hit list of all the people he wanted to fight. And on that list, he had...
Talking about Jake Paul again.
Yes. He had put on there that he wanted to fight Gervonta Davis and Canelo. And Gervonta Davis was at the bottom of the list versus Canelo being like towards the middle. Just no matter how skilled of a fighter he becomes at this point, you were going to have to fight Gervonta Davis before you could even get into a conversation of fighting Canelo.
You would have to beat Davis to get in the conversation with fighting Canelo. Here's the thing. Even though Jake Paul's pulling in money left and right, he's not going to pull down as much money as Canelo still pulls.
Even if
if they did do something together...
Here's the thing.
He would need to make so many rule adjustments just to give himself a puncher's chance. But Canelo would wipe the floor with him. It wouldn't even be a contest.
Here's my point about that, though. Like, to even dream of this conversation, which is we're so off. Like, trust me, I understand. It's so absurd. But also, Canelo is
at the top of his game.
He's a boxing purist, though. He loves the sport so much. He actually is annoyed by these celebrity fights and things like that. Like, he loves the sport so much that I don't know that he would ever even entertain it. Like, he'd have to probably be down on his luck and washed up for him to even entertain it.
I think it could also be I just need to shut you up.
Yeah.
Like that wouldn't put...
But you'd have to fight some substantial names for him to even consider.
Yeah, because he's told other boxers, you're not on my level yet.
Yeah.
And he means it. He's like... You haven't done enough. Yeah, you want to fight me, but that's not going to do anything for my career.
He would,
because you're nothing.
As a matter of fact, he would probably have to fight Manny Pacquiao and Gervonta Davis and beat them both before he would even consider saying like, "Oh yeah, I'll fight that kid now." Like, he's finally fought someone worth it, beat them. Earl Spence, like these people.
Now that's enough on this guy.
Yeah,
We'll talk about it after the fight. Manny Pacquiao,
still in boxing.
Ugas, they fought. You said that if Ugas wins, this is the equivalent of Buster Douglas beating Tyson.
Yes.
I did not necessarily agree, but I also did expect Manny Pacquiao to win, with the one caveat that I said, at this age, I can't ever be shocked if somebody beats Pacquiao.
Okay. So to clarify my opinion on if Ugas won being similar to the Buster Douglas.
You were high.
Yeah. No, my reason for it is when Buster Douglas won, he became champion. And by him becoming champion...
But Ugas was already champ.
Yeah. But by him becoming champion, Evander Holyfield had to fight Buster Douglas. So in the similar fashion that with Ugas beating Pacquiao, and Pacquiao have being the champion at that moment and losing his belt to Ugas. Now he doesn't have to fight Manny. He's
Here's
gonna
the
have to fight
problem with
Ugas.
what you're saying right now. Maybe that's what you thought, and maybe that's why you said it. And it very well could be. But when anyone invokes that idea that it's going to be Buster Douglas,
I know
beating
everyone
Tyson,
looks at it for
everyone
the upset.
looks at this is going to be the biggest upset in the history of the world. So when you say that, even if that's not where you were going, that needed to be clarified when you make the statement.
I will take that.
Because the Buster Douglas thing was not, oh, now he's going to fight the champ. No. No one cared about that. It was, how do you, someone who's not ranked top 3 in the world, beat the baddest man on the planet?
Right.
So it's always a colossal...
Yeah.
The invocation of that thought, Buster Douglas beating Tyson, is always a major David versus Goliath upset.
Yes.
So you saying it and clarifying now, I call BS.
No.
Yes, I do.
You might be. And I've had my moments of where I've been preoccupied and I haven't necessarily explained that. So I will take your criticism on that. But yes, my point.
Like, give it to you whether you took it or not.
My point to the way I was looking at it is it changes Earl Spence's trajectory of now you have to fight a guy that no one even was talking about before. That was my point. Buster Douglas wasn't even in the conversation whenever he fought Tyson going into the fight. When he beat him, it was, oh shit, who the fuck is this guy that was ranked?
Did you ever see that one clip from Tyson giving this speech saying that he actually beat Douglas?
Yes, I've seen that. He believes that. He says that a few times.
Where he said, look, if you see, I knocked him down. It was like a 13 count that should have been.
Yes.
And he counts it out, and it was 12 or 13 seconds. Like, you're not wrong.
Right.
But he always takes that loss. He says, I didn't train for it. He beat me. He gives Buster Douglas the credit. He said,
yes.
You say whatever, he got the win. He's like, now I can say, maybe I should have won it earlier because I knocked him down for 13 seconds. But I'll take it. I was just wondering if you ever saw it. Because I didn't see it till about a year ago.
I read his book a few years back, and then I seen that he went on the road, and I've watched his podcast. So he's mentioned it several times that it was a 13 count. Even Vlad did an interview with Buster Douglas, and he said,
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he did an interview with Buster Douglas and Tyson both separately, but and he brought it up to both of them, and Buster said, "Man, I was good. They didn't have to continue counting." He said, "I was up. I was fine. That's why they didn't." He was like, when Tyson went down, he was out. Like, he was looking for his mouthpiece. Like, once any fighter gets knocked down and they're looking for their mouthpiece, they're fucking out. They're not necessarily there. And I was like, yeah, I can see that argument. And when you say, like, once you get your mouthpiece and you're just kind of like searching around on the ground for it, you're not necessarily wrong.
I saw the clip. He was on the ground.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Buster Douglas.
Yeah.
So even if you say you were good, you were still supposed to get up faster.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I was just curious if you had seen that.
Yeah, I've seen it. I always thought it was interesting because the more interesting side of that, and a lot of Tyson's fights, he has a lot of interesting stories if you listen to him. But the interesting side to that was like, who was it? Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown showed up and they partied for like a week before the fight. And like, Bobby wrote about it in his book. Tyson wrote about it in his book. Like, him and Bobby were on a coke spree. Coke and hooker spree. I
remember hearing about that.
So that's more interesting to the law. I mean, granted, I was a kid when he took that loss, but in the idea that, you know, like, that's actually kind of funny whenever you find out about, like, damn, that's fucked up.
All right, so now we got to transition to still more fighting, because this week there was a lot of fighting going on in the sports realm. Now, this isn't actually anybody of note. Two fans, Steelers-Cincy game. Woman gets in this guy's face. He gets geared up. He wants to hit her, but instead he KOs her husband.
Cause he jumped in, like he
stood up.
Yeah.
He ain't even reach out. He stood up and he was like, "Okay, I got someone I can hit."
Yeah.
What'd you think about that video?
So initially, because I seen it on social media, I thought it was somebody else that it wasn't. But watching it, I personally just thought it was funny, and I was waiting for the backlash because at some point he does hit that woman too. And I was waiting to hear people talk about that, but no one ever brought it up. I think, and I've said this on other podcasts before, that first rule, like everyone always talks about how a man should never hit a woman. People need to keep their hands to themselves. No man should hit anybody. No woman should hit anybody. It's a thinking that I've realized. Like, you know, it's funny is we always say no woman or a man should never hit a woman, but like, technically nobody should be hitting anybody.
You're saying assault is assault.
Yes, exactly. And if you hit somebody and expect not to get hit, you should only expect that if you knock the person out. Otherwise, you should expect somebody to retaliate if you hit them.
Yeah, look, she
slapped him.
He had his hand on her, trying to push her back.
Yes.
And she comes across and smacks him right dead in his face.
Yeah.
Then he gets mad when that happens. When he's trying to push her away, he's not yet mad. If you watch, it's
he's
a
trying
very
to get her
short
to calm down. Yeah.
clip. He's telling her pretty much sit down, be quiet, and it's because she was John.
Yeah.
So when she smacks him and he knocks out her husband, there are fans who are afraid for him that he's going to get in trouble that are screaming out, "She hit him first. She hit him first."
Yeah.
The crowd there had his back.
Yeah.
And that was cool to see. Look, I don't think that he hit her on purpose, or maybe he just took a shot at her to make it look like he wasn't, because he didn't give her a clean hit.
No. I think
he was punching at
she
her
jumped
husband.
on top of her husband.
Yeah.
So that was more that it wasn't. I don't think anything about him hitting her. I thought of, well, you dummy, you hit him, and then your husband or boyfriend got knocked out, and then you're still on top of him getting hit. I hope he doesn't get in trouble.
It was funny when she was yelling at her husband, "Sit down, sit down, sit down." Look, I look at it like this. At a sporting event, why are you getting into it like that? It ain't that serious.
You know what's funny is Charlemagne, I don't know if you guys know, but Charlemagne from The Breakfast Club is a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. His dad is a Dallas Cowboys fan. He took his dad to a Giants and Cowboys game. His dad got mad at a Giants fan and tasered them for talking trash.
Lord.
So I personally find it funny that he did it, just in the sense that, one, his son is somebody of notoriety, not just a regular Stan. But on the other side of it, it's funny that, like, I could never get that competitive about a sport that I'm not involved in directly.
Yeah, you're saying that you're not playing, coaching, whatever.
Like,
yeah.
and even then, I would probably shut up and put up. Like, I'm gonna show you how good I am and do my best at that moment. I'm not gonna fight with you. Only way I'm gonna fight anybody is if you've tried me, and that's the only.
Yeah, if they're already kicking you or punching at you, and
Yeah.
and you're gonna be like, "Let me end this."
Yeah.
Look, I used to be short-tempered when I was a child. and then I realized, okay, that's not going to serve me any good. So I learned how not to be as short-tempered. Can I fight? Yes. Do I fight? No. I don't need to. If I'm at a sporting event and you're getting on my nerves, I'm not going to go try to fight you. If you come at me, then, and I have to fight you, that is very ignorant of you. But most people will see you or will see me and they'll think twice. Even if they would have
Facts.
fought somebody else,
Facts.
they'll see us and they're like, I don't know. You look like you might kill me.
So since you guys can't see us, I am 6 foot, almost 6'1", and I'm a big guy. So most people do look at me twice before they. First of all, I never realized that I never thought I was a tall person. Like, I just thought I was average. I thought the average height of a man went up as I got older because everyone always said, "Oh, the average height of a man's like 5'7" or 5'5", something like that." And I was like, really? And I always knew I was taller than that most of my teenage years. I just assumed because most of my friends and my family are all about the same height as me. So, and then I realized, like, oh, no. I just so happen to have friends that are tall people, the big people, too. And so, yeah, I don't get intimidated by size. Like, I've never been that person. So when people was like, you see how big that guy is? So the fuck does that mean? Like, in those situations, in most situations, like especially a sporting event, I think for me and you, one thing is we are we victimize people to the point of like if we're trash talking, we can trash talk with the best of them.
Yeah.
And so if someone did get mad enough to swing on us, we wouldn't necessarily say they were wrong for it because we were probably trash talking. But at the same time, we're also the same people like, nah, like I'm just talking shit. Like, because some people, like when they feel like they're getting under your skin, like, nah, it's cool. Like, I'm not even worried about it. Like,
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, me and you trash talk and like it didn't even phase us. We just knew like, oh, we were just talking shit the whole time. Like, had nothing to do with.
Look, we can either be laughing at your trash talking to us as far as in our head, or really just don't care at all. Like,
Yeah.
we'll respond to you, but it's not phasing us. It's not emotionally getting us riled up. So
Yeah.
we're not taking it as serious as other people.
Yeah.
Even if we get loud.
The only time, like, again, you have to be bothering me or mine, meaning, like, if you're literally putting your hands on somebody with me or pushing somebody that's with me, then me or you are probably more likely to escalate that situation to a fight. But if we're especially at a sporting event,
Yeah.
if my team's beating your team, like, trust me, I've been at a Cowboys and Rams Rams game, and all the fans around me are Rams, and then I've watched the Cowboys getting their butt kicked, and I'm still trash talking with the best of them, and letting them, as the Rams are running up the score, game's not over, don't worry about it, I ain't fazed by this. And then as they all started getting quiet, and the Cowboys started running the score back up on them, and I'm like, what happened? Where'd all the cheering go? Like, I know for a fact one of them guys was looking at me out the side of his eye because he got mad because they were coming back. And I was still in his face. What happened? You ain't talking shit now, are you? But I knew I was pushing that button. But again, we were all trash talking. For 3 quarters, you guys were in my face talking. When the fourth quarter come around, my team starts winning, you guys got quiet. And I'm egging you guys on, you guys got quiet. Y'all can't get mad when I started dishing it back.
Yeah. So the trash talking game ain't getting under our skin.
Do you think this is going to be something we're going to see a lot this season? Like
what, women hitting men and getting their husbands knocked out?
No, just like because it's the second week in a row that there was
there was a fight just a few days before that, the previous week.
Or is this just common in sports? Do you think it's just
No, I think it happens all the time. It's just the more cameras there are, the more times it gets caught.
Yeah, people, if you guys don't know, we're in a world of cameras. Like whether it's your phone, whether it's the facility,
yeah. So I think that this happens quite frequently.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there was in the NBA Finals or conference finals game before the finals, there was a fan that was getting taunted in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Or this was the second round, my bad. Either way, fans getting taunted in Phoenix by somebody else. And then he says Phoenix in 4. And knocks out that guy or beats him up pretty badly. Doesn't knock him out. And then he gets invited to the next round by the team. And they have him there. And then he says Phoenix in 4 again. They win again. Then in the finals, he says that. And then they lose. And haha. but that happened then. It doesn't really matter the sport. There's a lot of...
Sometimes athletes run up in the stands too. Don't get it...
There's a lot of emotion.
Yeah,
that's taking place here. People invest in it, and things happen.
Yeah,
I wish it wouldn't happen in there because you want to be able to take a kid
Yeah.
And you don't want to have to worry about protecting them. Look, earlier you
In
were
all
saying,
honesty, I'm afraid. Like, if we're fighting in the stands, I'm honestly worried about falling off the.
yeah, that would be the scariest thing.
Like, I'm not necessarily afraid of the fight. I'm sitting here thinking, like, man, if I fall over this edge and I fall down, like, what, I don't know how high that is, 50 feet down to the next tier,
Yeah.
I'm going to be mad because I'm probably going to break something.
Yeah, that is the truth. That is not a settling feeling.
Matter of fact, if I was me, I'd probably, you want to go out to the corridor? We can handle this in the corridor. I'm not going to fight you in these stands, but you want to walk down and go into where we can.
Yeah, for me, I think the scariest thing would be like, look, my thing has always been in a fight, the fastest way to win, right?
Yeah.
So I'd be like, man, I'm about to go to prison because I'm about to throw this person off the top.
Right?
And
hopefully I'm the one on top and not the one on
and we keep talking about a big fall because we don't have money to be lower level. So,
yeah. I definitely paid $7 to be all the way at the top.
Yeah. Look, I've gone to games at the lower level long time ago.
Yeah.
But I ain't doing that nowadays. It costs
Although
too much.
if there are any, fans out there that want to buy us game tickets, we're glad to take them.
Yep. All right. So now let's move forward. Your favorite section that we did not do last week, FS or BS? That segment, rather. All right. So, Jay, I got to ask you. Cam Newton.
Yes.
Did he cost himself the starting job in New England? Or Cam cost himself the starting job in New England with his leaving the team and not getting the COVID test done the way the team needed him done?
I'm going to say BS. I don't think that he cost himself the team. I think what happened was that they were...
So do you think he's still starting? You think he's still going to be the starter, or they're going to give it to the rookie?
I think if he...
because that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I don't think that he's... My thing about Cam is I think that Cam has been done. I don't think that Cam really
So it wasn't this action that's costing him his job.
Yeah, I think people want to speculate that, he's the Cam of years past. But I think, in all honesty, last year we've seen what Cam was. We've seen who Cam is the last, I would say, 4 years of where we've seen him decline. And I just think that you're not going to... he's just not the young Cam Newton that he once was. And so that's where I think you're just starting to see, the aging of him.
I hear what you say. I'm going to say for sure. I think he cost himself. I don't think he had any wiggle room. I think he was holding on to his starting position on a thin string.
Yeah.
And by him, even though he had permission from the team and there was just a miscommunication on how he was supposed to get these COVID tests done,
yeah,
I think he was on such a thin string that he cost himself by having to miss this next preseason game. I think this next preseason game could have solidified for him, yeah, I still deserve to be the starter, at least going into the season.
Yeah.
So I personally think that he cost himself the starting job. Now, speaking of quarterbacks, we still haven't heard anything from the league on whether Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended. So I want to ask you, because the league sometimes does this. You remember Ezekiel Elliott?
Yeah.
They were waiting, then finally did it. So Deshaun Watson will play football this season. FS or BS?
I think he's going to play. So I guess it's for show. Yes, I think he's going to play. But where I'm out on him again is I don't know what his performance is. Is he going to be able to perform with all these, with him in the news, with the FBI and investigating him? It's a lot of pressure already to be in Texas as the starting quarterback and performing well, and then you throw in the controversy and him being so young. I don't know that he can handle it and that he'll weather it so well. So I'm going to say that, yes, he's going to play this year. I don't know how long he'll play or where he'll play, but I do expect to see him playing.
I am hesitantly going to say for sure. And I say that because the league isn't saying anything. And until he gets suspended, I cannot assume he'll get suspended. I
Right.
know that Philly is interested in having him, so they've already been talking about trading for him, but I know that so much of that is just dependent on whether he gets suspended. I think if the season starts and he's the starting quarterback for Houston, Philly's going to call and say, okay, we'll trade for him because obviously he's not suspended yet.
Right.
All right, next one. Sticking with the NFL. Derrick Henry won the rushing title last year. Will win the rushing title again this year. Tennessee running back.
I'm gonna say BS. I don't think he's gonna have it in him to pull it off a second time
In a row.
in a row.
Yeah.
In a row.
I think this might be the third time. I don't remember who won the season before.
Um,
Oh, no, it was McCaffrey, wasn't it?
I don't think it was McCaffrey, but I think it was.
No, it was Derrick Henry. So he already won it twice. This would be his third.
Yeah. I think they've made some adjustments to their offense this year for me to think that he's going to get so many carries for
With
it to
the
be.
additional receivers, Julio
Yeah.
Jones, and
Yeah.
So I'm going to say BS, and I know a lot of you going to roll your eyes because the reason I say it's BS, I think Ezekiel Elliott's going to win it.
Okay.
So I can't say that Derrick Henry's going to get it again if I fully believe that Zeke is going to be given the ball and the offense is going to run through him. And with the receivers that the Cowboys have, big plays are going to become available for Zeke.
That actually brings up something. I know we weren't talking about Hard Knocks this week because there wasn't anything really special that happened. But one thing I did notice is that in the quarterback meetings with Dak, Zeke is in there. And they pointed it out on a couple other shows how that's a little bit strange. But I think that's actually kind of good. I mean, one, it's, good to know what your quarterback's hearing, and so that way when they do adjustments on the line, you kind of see it and you know what's already going on before just reacting to whatever he's doing. But the other thing is, I think that, if he's putting in the time to be in the room with the quarterbacks meetings, I can't argue that you're wrong in the idea that he might get the ball a little bit more than he has in the past couple of seasons. I honestly don't think that. I just think that they have so much talent that they're trying to figure out how do you maximize it, and I think that's what holds him back. And I think that with us having an extra game this year, you're gonna have to.
That's the other thing.
You're gonna have to do something to preserve some players. Some people are gonna run more. Some people are gonna catch more, just to make it through the season. One thing I did, we'll finish this and I'll bring it up later.
All right. NFL is taking COVID mask protocols too far by fining the players. FS or BS?
Definitely for sure. I do think, because I was seeing leading up to this, they were talking about, like, if you don't get the shot, we're going to make you forfeit, and then like the team that doesn't. I'm just saying, like, leading up to this, like, not necessarily that they implemented it, but I heard them saying that they wanted to.
No, you would only have to forfeit, not for not getting the shot, but if you didn't have enough players to play, they're gonna make you forfeit if they can't reschedule the game.
That's not what I heard going into the season. They were saying that they were going.
You heard wrong.
What I heard going into the season, I thought was crazy, was that they were saying that they wanted to implement, if the team does not get vaccinated and someone does have an outbreak and they cannot play because of the outbreak, then you would have to forfeit, and then you don't even get paid on top of that.
Well, look, that player won't play. It's if the team, because there was circumstances last year where teams were begging to have a game rescheduled. Yeah. I forget which team it was. They ended up having to play a position player as their quarterback.
Right.
Because they couldn't get somebody to sign. All of their quarterbacks were in safety protocol. And
right.
So the idea is, if you have too many players out because of COVID, then you will have to forfeit. Not if one player's out.
No, yeah, I was saying that the team was
Boy,
going.
clarify.
I was saying that the
if the
team.
team doesn't have enough players.
Listen, if you're too slow to understand what I'm saying, it's not on me. It's on you.
Boy, if you don't know how to talk, it's on you. All right. So you think that by finding the players for not having their mask in their facilities, that the NFL is taking the protocols too far?
We're just talking about the masks.
We're just talking about them finding the players for not wearing their masks.
No, that's not too far. If you're not gonna wear it, like, no, I don't know. I don't feel like. Let's see. The way I see it is, I guess it's still the organization. So no, it's not, because at work they can tell you it's part of your work uniform. So if the NFL is telling you in order you need to be wearing these masks and whatever, then you should. I mean, it's part of a job. You have to do what you got.
So Cole Beasley was mad.
Yeah.
Because he, in his words, I took 5 steps without a mask inside the building and they fined me for it. Now I'm gonna say this: if the rules say enter the building with your mask on, then you're supposed to enter the building with your mask on. And a lot of people will say stuff like, it was only 2 steps, it was only 5 steps, whatever. Now, I say that because a lot of people will keep pushing the envelope further and further.
And
one day it's 5 steps.
Yeah.
The next day it's into the room.
The locker room. Yeah.
And so I'm always a firm believer that if you want to implement a rule, you have to be firm.
Yes. I agree with that. Like, the thing about that, there's a lot of rules that I find, like, is it really, like, I've heard players have gotten fined for not wearing the same socks as everyone else.
Yeah, there's a lot of stupid rules out
there. So in that sense, if you know you're going to get fined for not wearing the same socks and you still don't, you would get fined. The fuck difference is it you're not wearing your fucking mask walking into the building? You know that you're supposed to wear this walking into the building. Why would you not, do what you're supposed to? So, I mean, whether you agree with it or not, this is the time that we're living in. A few years or a few weeks or sometime last year, they were talking about how, everyone wants to go back to the way it was before. And they were talking about how before 9/11, we could just walk in and out of airports, no problem. Nowadays, you can't do that. We never went back to it. We just adjusted to it. Unfortunately, guys, as much as you guys are fighting against wearing these masks and vaccinations, we're moving towards a time that this is going to become a standard. Whether you like it or not, this is the new world that we're living in today, unfortunately. I wear my mask even though I've had my shots, and people say you don't have to now. I tell people like this: y'all are dirty. I'm going to wear my mask. So it is what it is, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of rules that I always would argue against. And I think a lot of rules are stupid, and I can't blame people for not following them. I told you guys a few weeks ago that I back up Michael Irvin in his idea that if you're not getting your shot or you're not wearing your mask, whatever, things like that, that you're not doing everything that you possibly could to win a championship.
Facts.
I back him up with that. And I back up this concept if you're really going to try to keep your product up. Because I don't think that it's for safety of the players. I think the NFL is looking out for its best interest. Right. The more of you that are wearing your masks and have your COVID shot, the less likely that I'm going to have to put a BS game up.
That's true. I mean,
so the
keep
NFL
in mind, like,
is interested in its own profit.
It's small potatoes. It's small potatoes when you put it in the idea of, like, what is the NFL losing? The advertisement during the game. You're losing, people being in the stands. Like, there's so much stuff at stake more than just this one player.
And the money matters. Look, I know for a lot of us, it's like, oh, this is just money for the players or for the teams. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. With these games, all those stadium workers, they they're missing out on paychecks. And I know some of you can say, oh, but not all of them get paid. Some of them are volunteering, because I know I've been there. I've done that. And I know that you're saying, oh, but some of them are volunteering and some of them, they're just part-time for extra income. Well, extra income for you is the difference between someone making their rent payment and not.
Facts.
For somebody else. So the
making
NFL,
the car note, making the gas, like there's anything. Maybe it's the extra
paying
meal.
their dentist bill for their kid.
Maybe the volunteers, like, I got an extra meal because they fed us for working that day. Like,
Or that too. Or maybe it's, hey, by me being able to volunteer there, I'm not in jail.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't pay this ticket for speeding or whatever have you.
Right. So, but again, it trickles down. Like, when you look at these big organizations, you're thinking like Jerry Jones and his sons, like, they're making all this money. Yes, true indeed. They're making a lot of money, but it trickles down to the guy that's cleaning up
parking attendant.
Yeah. Everything, to the minimum wage, to the high end salary workers. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it trickles down, even the people that are placing the ads to broadcast during those.
I have a friend whose father's a lawyer. They have a really nice.
Nobody likes you.
They have a really nice house, great looking pool. I was talking to his mother. This is some 20 years ago. I was talking to his mother.
Wonder what
she
that's
said,
code for.
She said that a lot of people assume that we have money because his dad's a lawyer. They don't realize we just have higher bills. We have more expensive bills.
Yeah.
It's not that we are any better off. We're virtually living paycheck to paycheck, just with more expensive bills.
I would say, as somebody who grew up on the lower end of income to what people would call a decent salary compared to what that was at the time, I'm still very much struggling on this. Like, yeah, my rent's doubled in the last 3 years compared to what I was paying, things of that nature. So, yeah, places, and it's a smaller place. I had a bigger house with half the rent.
Yeah. So, I get the frustration of people and them only looking at, oh, it's the players, it's the ownerships.
And also where you live,
too. But look, it also affects everybody else. Yeah. So when a Cole Beasley doesn't wear his mask and 8 players of the starting lineup of the Buffalo Bills get COVID, whether it's because of Cole Beasley or because someone else who was vaccinated but still got it, now others are susceptible to it. If that game ends up being canceled, a lot of people are affected beyond just the players, the TV networks, and the ownership groups. So I get it. They have to protect their investment. Now, the last one for FS or BS, Cowboys rank 12 on the ESPN Power Rankings. Too high. For show or BS?
BS. I think they could be ranked a little bit higher, honestly.
Okay.
Your facial expression when I said that, you're like, well, okay.
No, I mean, I personally think that it's right on spot. I don't think that it's too high. I don't think it's FS or BS. I think 12 is about right for preseason rankings. And I go based off the idea that we still don't know what their defense is going to be.
So, again, this goes back to when we're looking on paper, what are we seeing? On paper, as people look at the Cowboys often, on paper they have a great team.
Great offense.
There's no reason why they don't do better than what they do or whatever the case.
There's a lot of reasons. Coaching being
But I'm saying on paper, when you're looking at it on paper, you're looking at the talent
and on
that they
paper,
have.
I look at their coaching and I know that they have an idiot for a head coach.
That's your opinion. Some people think McCarthy is a great coach.
Who? Name me one person.
I don't know them people, but I'm saying some people think he's
McCarthy? A great Jerry Jones? That doesn't count. They're both idiots. Hey, sorry, Jerry.
I'm not sorry.
I'm not taking it back. I'm just saying I'm sorry. I know it's kind of mean.
As I stated, Jerry's the best and worst thing that ever happened to the Cowboys.
I stated a couple years ago, I wouldn't mind the McCarthy getting the head coaching job. Last year, after what I saw, and this year, after what I've heard, I take that statement back. I do mind. I mind tremendously. Because McCarthy has shown me, and I think was it you that I was talking to about it, that he showed me he knows the right thing to say to get the job, but he's not doing those things.
We didn't have that conversation, but it's...
Well, maybe I was talking to myself. I said it to somebody.
No. I'm not saying... I don't remember that conversation,
no,
but...
I'm just saying I don't know who I said it to.
I will say when McCarthy came, I was like, okay, we got a decent coach coming our way.
He has a good resume.
Yeah.
And we found out, I think, my opinion, found out he's not a very good coach.
Well, I also heard a lot of criticism about it whenever he came, that he was just Jason 2.0 without the clapping feature. So, all that to say, I mean, as I've said for the last, I don't know how many years now, because I feel like I've been saying it forever at this point, it's Jerry, everything good and bad that happens to them, because Jerry is so much in control of his coaches that they can't necessarily coach to make them any better without him saying, why don't we put this guy in? Oh, you know, what I was thinking is we should probably run the ball more this week. Oh, we should probably throw the ball more this week.
No, I think that was more of us having a weak coach and Jason Garrett, who listened to the media. Now with Jerry, I think in the 90s after Jimmy left, I think he was more likely to give his 2 cents in for game planning.
Well, if you watch Hard Knocks,
and I
know you do.
I don't, because I hate
enthusiast of it. He has done that even in this offseason, talking to, so what do you think about starting Elliott during the preseason? What do you think about... So he's still meddling. He sits in on...
I think some of those things are for the camera.
I will say that I still think he's a narcissist. He's very much wants to be...
I didn't say he wasn't.
I know, I'm saying. I'm not saying he is.
Jesus, boy. You know what? Just for that, we're going to have to hold off on our top 10 running back, because time's gone over.
Okay. I do want to just
So
ask
you made me look like a liar. You talk too much and you never shut up.
I did want to ask you real quick before we get out of here. With Dak not playing, is it possible that it's some messed up scheme to, like, you know what, we're playing an extra game this year, let's just sit them out, keep them just a little bit healthier, a little bit longer?
Is it possible? Yes, but I don't think that's likely. I don't believe their coach is smart enough to do something like that. I think when he tweaked his arm,
yeah,
the coach is of that ilk that doesn't find the importance of preseason games, because I don't think he's a very good head coach.
Okay.
If he would understand the importance of getting that rhythm,
yeah,
then he would say, look, if your arm's good, let's go out there for 1 series, 2 series, and make sure that it's as loose as it's supposed to be.
Right.
But if you're just erring on the side of caution, which is possible too, then it could just be, let's make sure you don't get hurt. Unfortunately, I'm of the opinion that when you do stuff like that, that's when you do get someone hurt.
Yeah.
You stay too tight.
It's too cautious.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not one to, like, I know that there's a part of being cautious and then there's a part of, like, being stupid too.
Yeah.
And I
yes,
try
you should know that.
I try to say, I always like to hedge my bets towards being on the safer side, in the sense that, yes, I will go push those limits, but I also have a backup plan to...
Scared money don't win money.
Yeah. So I'm
See,
willing
that
to...
goes against what you just said, and you say, yeah. See, you're stupid.
No,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I go with more of, like, let's push these limits, but let's not necessarily do it stupidly.
So
either.
Before we wrap up, I just got to tell you, your boy Cooper Rush has been the better of the 3 backup quarterbacks this preseason. I know you do, but he's better than Garrett Gilbert this preseason. He's beaten him out. Ben DiNucci should have been cut.
I fucking hate him.
3
I know my luck.
Awful. But Cooper Rush, outplayed Gilbert in 2
I
preseason
know.
games right now.
I know.
You can't deny that.
I've been sitting here because people have been asking me about it, and I keep saying fuck Cooper Rush because I mean that from the.
And look,
I mean it so far deep
keep
in my
in
soul.
mind, I'd rather us get the boy from what was his name? The one that looked like a porn star.
Fuck his name, Gershwaller. I can't say his name.
What the hell,
Is
Gershwa?
Isn't it like Gershu or something like that?
Minshew.
Oh damn! Fuck that guy. That fucking guy.
Dude, Gershwa. What the heck is wrong with you?
Listen,
Look, I would rather Minshew be our backup because this is where people get it confused. You can have a backup like what we did last year in Dalton, where you're a borderline starter, so that way you can be successful, right?
Yeah.
You can have one of those. You can have the Bernie Kosars that the Cowboys had in the 90s. So someone that can be a good quarterback or somewhat good of a quarterback, but you're going to have to pay those guys.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to pay those guys, what I want is a playmaker. And it's a playmaker who maybe you're not going to be consistent enough to do it for 16 games. Yeah. But if I just need you for 4 games, I want someone who maybe doesn't know the playbook, but can make something happen. And that's what Minshew is. And I don't think our current backup quarterbacks are good enough.
Right.
But if they're going to be hell-bound on keeping somebody, it's got to be Cooper Rush based on what you've seen this preseason.
So I'm pulling to see because they said that they weren't going to make a cut to the till tonight's game, or is it a game tonight?
No, Saturday.
Saturday's game. I know they were going to do it on the last
Sunday.
game.
Is this the last preseason game?
Yeah,
it's Sunday then.
Okay, so McCarthy said that he's not going to do a cut until after the next game for his quarterback backups. So knowing that, in all honesty, I think that they're along the lines of me where like I really hoping one of these other guys pull through because we don't want to take Cooper Rush, but I think he's there.
He's winning the job.
Yeah, I think that's really what it is. I think because if it was Cooper's job, I think at this point they could just say like, yeah, you could at least cut one of these guys. The fact that you don't want to cut any of them yet.
He's got a love affair with DiNucci because he knew him when he was a high school player. I think his brother coached him or something.
Got you.
So he's got that bond with him, or that affinity rather, for him. So he wants him to succeed. He wants it. So he might keep him as the practice quarterback, which I hope he doesn't. Not because I want anything bad for somebody, but because I want someone who can actually do something. And I don't believe that Ben DiNucci is that guy.
Yeah.
I want value in my players. So I think Cooper Rush is going to win this. Unless he blows it this game, I think it's his job to lose now.
I'm pulling for Gilbert because
you hate Cooper Rush.
I hate Cooper Rush, but I also seen Dak, and it could have just been for the cameras, but Dak kind of took to him during the Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that maybe they gel enough that he's listening to the pointers that he's giving him and things of that nature. Because again, I really hate. Like I don't like to use the word hate. I really dislike.
I've been saying it a lot these last few weeks.
I hate to say I hate somebody. I don't like saying that I hate people. I really dislike.
You just want to hate them. You don't want to say it.
Yeah, that's it. That sounds better. I want to hate them, but I don't like to hate them. No, seriously, I really just. His previous years just really disappointed me, and I have no one wants to keep him around.
Definitely,
I'd much rather take the gamble on somebody.
I
new
don't want Gilbert because he showed me that he sucks. Not that he don't have the tools or the potential to be decent, but he's not ready right now.
Yeah,
and if Cooper Rush right now is so mad that he's gonna force himself to be a decent quarterback, which is what I see in him. It's like he's now playing like F this, I'm gonna go do something.
Yeah,
and I'll take it.
If
we're not gonna upgrade,
I'd much rather have a horseshoe on our team That was deliberate. I know his name is Gershu or something like that.
Nobody likes you.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, no, seriously, in all seriousness, I'd much rather have a skilled quarterback that could carry a game or three if he had to, periodically, not just, okay, someone's out for a long period, but someone actually, this game, you're going to pick it up halfway through it or something like that. That's to me, that's what a good backup is supposed to do. They're not necessarily there to carry the team, but they're there to pick up slack for a quarter or a game at most, 2 or 3, but they're not really there for, to fill your spot for permanent. You're not supposed to be Foles finishing out a season type deal. So, but that concludes this week, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, if you see us on Apple Podcasts, hit that rating, give us a rating. If you see us on YouTube, please leave some comments, hit the like button, share the video.
Why you beg so much?
Share the video. Help us get awareness. Help people listen to us. If you guys got things you disagree with us, tweet us or leave a comment. We will see it. We will bring it up if we think that it's valid, or we will make fun of you if we feel like it. But with that being said, you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at SleepyJ. That's SLEE_E_J. That's not right. I didn't put a P in there.
I don't know what he's saying. Look,
you can follow me.
You can get at me at Rudy V 1982 on I forget what is it, Twitter.
Twitter, yes, Twitter. Yeah, and as you can tell, we don't listen to ourselves speak. So I will say you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at SleepyJ. That's SLEEP_E_J. I don't think I put a P in there the first time I said that.
He did not. He needs to go pee. All right, fellas. Y'all take it easy. Enjoy your week. And we'll come at you with some new content next week. Maybe we'll finally get at our top 10 running backs list.
All right, guys. I'm out.
Peace.